and I'm just telling the people, like, this stuff is lunatic stuff. Like, it only cult shit happens like this.
It is isolation and torture. It's bad. There was no sense in it. Me in my own world. And I'm, hoping to get to go back home soon. The other girls have gone back home, and I'm 15. And I get this message. And it's a brutal, brutal message. Like,
so this is 2012.
This is 2012, February 2012. This message tells me, all these people are getting messages to go home. So I think, finally, I'm going home. But I go into my sister's closet and listen to this message, and all 3 scribes are on the phone reading this message. And it is terrible. It was so bad. It was like, you've been immoral, you've, done all this stuff. You have to be a non-member now. And this was the first time I'd ever heard that we could be a non-member, So it was scathing. It was the worst message I've ever received.
I believe it.
And he told me I had to go live by myself with Roy.
Roy?
Our brother.
What?
That was the first message, was I go live by myself with Roy. And that I had to be a non-member and live by myself with Roy until I could come back home.
Wow.
Or until I could become a member. And so they get done reading that message, they say amen, and I can barely get the word amen out. And then they're like, we have one more message for you. And the next message they read says to not live with Roy, but to live by myself.
Oh, that is weird.
Yeah. Anyway, so
I don't think people realize how you feel when you get those messages. I'm trying to think of how to explain it. You're striving to be worthy so hard. You have the pressure of your whole family and your siblings.
Yeah, all the peer pressure around and just trying to be good enough. I mean, and then you're doing everything possible. Like at that time, Dad said, quit eating in your bedroom. So I stopped eating in my bedroom. He said, help with every meal. So I helped with every meal. I literally did everything he wanted. The only thing that I didn't do that the scribes had actually talked to me about before that was some schoolwork. But no one was there to teach me. No one was told to teach me. And one of the scribes said to me, you need to take initiative. Go and ask one of the mothers to be your teacher. Mm-hmm. And I didn't. I mean, what 15-year-old is going to go say, hey, will you teach me how, school?
Yeah.
And it's not, I haven't been told to do it.
I just, those kind of messages, especially where that's the
whole
first
earth
one.
just drops from under
yes.
you.
And it's like, okay, this is real.
It took me a minute to even feel like it was real. I sat there and listened to that message, and it raked me over the coals for absolutely nothing. But it was like I was like-minded with my sisters, and I had to be a non-member because I was the one that instigated it, and I was bad for. But the words he uses, it's terrible. It's really bad. Anyway, I walk out of the closet, and I'm not even crying. I'm just like stunned. I can't even believe my ears what was happening.
I believe it.
And so my older sister that was there, I tell her what the message said, and she was like, what the actual?
Who?
Nora.
Okay.
Yeah, Nora was, that was the only time that someone was like, what the hell is going on?
Uh-huh.
And it was she said something that someone wouldn't have normally said, questioning Dad.
Yeah.
I didn't care. I was just like, I agree. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
But she was so nice to me. She actually gave me 2 of her dresses because I didn't have very good clothes at the time. And she let me take her eye touch. She was like, take this and just so you have something.
She had probably been in the Triplexes.
She hadn't. I was part of the first group.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I go to pack up, and everyone's going home. All these 12 people are going home. And so everyone sees me packing up, and they're just assume, and everyone's so happy. Oh, you're going home. you're such a good girl. And I just was like, yep, I'm going home. And I'm told that I'm leaving at the same time as everybody. So I get all packed up and I get my stuff out there and I make sure it's all separate, you know, and out there last. So I can at least spare some people from not knowing what's happening to me. So they really didn't. Like, most people thought I was going home. The people that stayed there, we got on our way and we went to Colorado.
Wait, where did you get in the same vehicle?
Yeah, I got in the same vehicle as them. And
that's awkward.
Oh yeah, everyone's like, oh, I just knew you were so
coming.
Yeah, you're just such a good girl. And reality is starting to hit. I'm like, and I'm just trying to hold everything in. You're like holding everything together.
If these guys knew how wicked I was.
Yeah. And so we get to Colorado and we meet another driver, and that's when we separate, and everyone's like, oh, you're not going home. But I wasn't the only one. Okay. There was 1, 2, 3, 4 mothers, and then two of them had mothers. 4 mothers, and 2 of them had their kids that were going short. So we're going Short Creek, and I didn't know where I was going. I just knew that I had to go live by myself somewhere. And so we drive to Short Creek, and we get taken to the meeting house. So we get taken to the meeting house.
What do you think when you're in Short Creek?
I hated Short Creek.
I know, but the idea that you're in Short Creek after all this has got to be terrible.
Yeah, it's like, because Dad has always talked about it as a God-forsaken place.
Yes.
That to go back and to be sent there is the worst of the worst.
Yes.
And so, yeah, it's just foreboding. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's like, but we get taken to the meeting house and they unload our stuff and they pile it into each person's stuff, you know, like this person, this person, this person. And then they come and they start taking people. First they take this mother and her kids, and then they come back and they load this mother and her kids up. And then they come back and there's 2 more mothers and me. It's my turn, I get my stuff loaded in, and I get taken to the Triplexes. It was number 8. They unload my stuff and they hand me a phone and they say, bye. Like, they said, don't open the door for anybody but one of Uncle Lyle's wives. And
who was it?
Seth A.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the one that drove us there. Anyway, that was a crazy experience.
What did you think when you got in there and all your stuff was in there?
It was so quiet, and there's like a living room, and then it goes into a kitchen and bedrooms. I don't know. I don't think I was fully with it. But it was so quiet. It was too quiet. And I tried to go to bed, but I couldn't sleep. So I would open the blinds, and the storehouse in Short Creek was just across the way. So I would open the blinds and watch what was going on over there. And then I finally went to sleep that night. And then the next morning, I fall asleep on the couch. And all of a sudden, I'm running around the house. I thought I heard someone else in there. And so I'm running around yelling their name, like looking in every room for them. And then I finally wake all the way up.
You mean one of the other family?
Yeah, it was one of the mothers. In my dream, while I was on the couch, I dreamed that they were there. Oh. But it was real. It was like, and so I'm running around the house half asleep, calling their name, thinking, oh, I'm not alone. And then I wake all the way up. And I'm like, oh, well, this is a worse nightmare than my nightmare.
Oh.
Yeah.
God.
Anyway, I was now a non-member. So now to go back, I have to get baptized before I can go back.
So you were there for 3 weeks.
Yeah. The second day I was there, Uncle Lyle came over and brought me 2 boxes of my books because I left them, and Mom was worried that I didn't have enough books to read to, scriptures, so she got some. Anyway, so he brings me a steak and my boxes of books.
A steak?
A steak.
A cooked
A filet
steak?
mignon.
Cooked?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, it was really yummy. Because I didn't have any food. There was some stuff in the pantry, some canned stuff, but I didn't have any food. And then the whole thing was you're a non-member. You have to work for your money, for your stuff. So he was like, my wife will bring you a little bit of food and she'll also bring you work. So we did the snaps, like the hand sanitizer things where you put the case on the hand sanitizer and you have like a box of 500 and you do that. Anyway, he says like, call me, anytime. I'm like, okay. And then one morning I couldn't go to sleep all night. And I finally fall asleep around 5 in the morning. I wake up at 8 and there's a missed call from him. Yeah. I was like, oh, hell no. So I call him back and he's like, were you not up on time? It was so bizarre to have him be like up in my space like that. Like I didn't even know him. And then all of a sudden he's there and he's like keeping track of me. But that first week he gets sent away. Lyle gets sent away and John Wayman becomes the bishop. And so I'm just stuck in the triplexes waiting for them because a week later I got a message that said that I could go, be a member now and go back to, I was going to get sent back to hiding. But it's all a mesh with the bishop stuff that it kind of, I don't know if it just fell through the cracks or they had to figure out how to do it or what. I ended up being there 3 weeks. And Uncle Al's wife would bring me work. Yeah. She would bring me work and then she'd bring me the money that I earned. You know how weird it was to hold that money? It felt so wicked.
She would bring you money?
So the money I earned from doing the snap, she would bring me the cash.
Why?
Because I was earning my way as a non-member.
And then what did you do with the money?
I would put it up on a high shelf in the living room and didn't want to worry about it. And then when she needed to get some, then I'd give it to her.
Wow.
Because I couldn't go outside or anything.
So they were making it real.
Oh yeah, they were making it real when I was 15.
That's crazy.
And one of the mothers that had come at the same time was actually in the one right by me. She was in the triplex right by me. And she threw an airplane over that said, hi, thinking about you, whatever. Mm-hmm. And mom actually came and saw me for the first 3 days that I was there. She got to come.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she came and she would spend the day with me and then she would go back to Father's house that was, right across the way.
The new one.
And she would stay there at night. That was 3 days. She got to be there for 3 days. Well, this happened while Mom was there. She threw the airplane over. I got it, wrote back on it, and threw it back. She told Uncle Lyle.
Because you told her.
She was there. She saw it.
Oh.
She told Uncle Lyle and got us all in trouble. He ripped into the mother that was across in the other one, and then to me he called and gave me a big old sermon.
Dude, I like Uncle Isaac, and I can appreciate Uncle Nephi, and they have their times.
If it had been Uncle Isaac, he would have probably just been like, "Hey, don't do that."
I know.
Uncle Lyle, it was like,
yeah, Uncle Lyle is kind of a bitch. I have to say that.
Yeah, he was scary. It was really scary. And when he came in there, he said, this is just the next step. And your father, the next step, he said something like getting married and having children. And I'm like, what? Anyway.
So 1 week in, how does it feel to be there?
Every day was, I tried the best I could to keep the schedule that Dad, always had us on. And it was just, I wrote a lot, but I didn't ever talk. And I remember one day walking around the house and just trying to talk out loud. And I scared myself. I was literally jumped out of my skin. And I was like, I'm not talking anymore. Not only that, I would be on the couch in the living room and the fridge would make this knocking noise. It was knock, 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 knock. And then knock, 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 knock. Sounded just like someone knocking on the back door. the first time that happened scared me to no end. I jumped off the couch because I was half asleep. I jumped off the couch and I like peek in around the back door trying to see, and then I walk in the kitchen and I'm so terrified.
Uh-huh.
And then the fridge does it again. I'm like, it's
Oh,
just
it's
the
the
fridge.
fridge.
And
Wow.
you know what's funny? Not funny, but Joe's family, like Josephine and Naomi and their kids, lived in the one next on the other side of me.
So just for everybody knows, the family that got washed,
They got in the flood.
they got in the flood. Their passenger van was parked in the creek and it got washed down, and most of them died.
Yeah. Yeah, they lived in the one next to me, and I'd watch them all day. Their kids would come outside and play and whatnot. I'd watch them. That was the last time I ever saw them. Yeah, I was there for 3 weeks, and then John Wayman baptized me, and actually there ended up being like 8 people there.
Surprised he was able to do that.
Why?
I don't know. Me and John Lyman have a history.
Okay. A couple of my sisters were actually there. I didn't know, but we all got done at the same time. And that night, after we got baptized, then we were going to be leaving the next morning, but we started running to each other's triplexes because we knew we were there now, and we
Yeah.
talked to each other at the meeting house or the place where we got baptized.
And let's explain this for everybody. Usually when you get baptized, you're just getting baptized, to be a part of the church. But at this point, there was this like revelation where if you get baptized, boom, all your blessings are back. So you get baptized, and then they don't lay their hands on you for the Holy Ghost especially. Yeah, they're doing it for that, but they're also doing it for all your priesthood blessings.
Because it's the United Order. We were baptized into the United Order, and we now, like, I'm a temple worker, I'm a temple builder, I'm a whatever that was to live in the new house. And when he told me I was a non-member, I lost all my blessings.
Yes.
So he said, now that I was baptized, when they laid their hands on my head, that gave me all my blessings
Yeah,
back.
you get all your blessings back. You don't have to get each
one.
one again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
That was one of the biggest lifesavers to me. I was like, at least I have all my blessings back.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And the warning was all through these years, there's coming a time where this isn't going to be possible anymore.
So you have to stop being bad and being a non-member, or you'll lose all your blessings, and you'll only, you'll have to work back up.
Right. And if you become a non-member, then like for me, you're going to have to get the priesthood, and then you're going to have to get this blessing and that blessing and all these blessings again.
Yeah.
But right now, boom, you can get them in one shot, if you lose them.
Right. But it was only lasts for so long. It's like, when something goes on sale, and then it's like, what's only going to last?
Yeah.
Anyway, I ended up going to hiding after that. And then in this year, I moved 12 different times. I went back to 23. And when I'm at 23, like 3 weeks later, I go back to the triplexes.
Really?
Yeah.
By yourself?
So I was supposed to live by myself, but they had too many people there. So there was 2 of the moms that were in the same one. And they gave me, they let me choose what bedroom I want. They were like so nice to me. I don't know why.
The mothers?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's one thing I noticed is the mothers
and
started getting a lot nicer.
Yeah. Okay, so after I met the triplexes the first time, I don't want anyone to know. But it kind of starts getting around that someone lived by themselves at the triplexes. And I'm in hiding with one of the mothers that I've known for, she was one of the mothers that was on me when I was younger. Someone says, I heard that someone lived by themselves, and she said, they said one of the children, and she said, Warren would never do that. And I was right there, and I was like, ain't me saying nothing. 2012 was this year where I went to the triplexes a couple of times, because now I'm going back to the triplexes, and on the way down I stop at a house of hiding where they're members. So this house of hiding was members. I'm a non-member, and I'm there on Sunday, and they're having sacrament. And, like, I don't take sacrament because I'm a non-member. But I don't want anybody to know.
I see.
Anyway, I go back to the Triplexes and I'm there for 2 weeks. And go back and get baptized, get all my blessings back. And then go back to 23.
And then how long were you there?
I was there until September. So all you guys came up. This is when all you guys came to 23 from home. You know, they're gonna be taking home away. So everyone comes up to 23, and I'm there. And then a bunch of people go back. So I actually went back home for my birthday. In September, 3 weeks in September, I went back home. And that was like, I was just glad I got to be at the original. I was like, I'm finally home. I'm finally good enough to be home after going to the Triplexes and, you know, all those things.
Yeah, I went back home for a little while right in there too.
Yeah, you did. I think you came home too. And then you stayed longer than me.
I stayed until me and Abe and I wrote on Will's pants. We got sent away for that.
Oh, yeah. Dear. Oh, and then I get sent back to 23, and then it happens again. I don't know if you remember this, but it happens again where everyone comes up again.
Oh, that happened like, God, it had to be 5 times.
Yeah, everyone came back up, and then a bunch of them went back. And at the very same time, I get a message that I'm have to go to hiding.
From 23.
From 23. So the same thing happens where I get in with them and I ride, and then I get and go into hiding while they go off on to home.
God.
Yeah. And then I'm at hiding for 2 months and go back to 23. And then I go back and live with Mom.
Where?
At 23, but in a different house.
So that's where you were through 2013.
No, just for a couple months in 2013. Yeah, so it's like, okay, now you're a non-member, but this time you're not going to the Triplexes. You're just going to go to a different house on the South Dakota land until you're good enough to be rebaptized and move back to the
by
family.
This point, Warren Jess had sent everybody away from 23 pretty much. There was a few families left, and now the house
is our family.
Yeah, it's just our family.
And the houses are used as punishments. Oh, you're not good enough to live with the family? Go to that house. You can't talk to anybody else on the land. Yeah,
exactly.
And they were doing baptisms every week, or every other week.
Yeah. They had a baptismal fund at 23. They had one at the Quakey house, right?
Yeah.
And then one at the Crick. And I want to talk about just like tell everybody the general vibe. So 2011, everything got strict, but we were kind of all at home as far as I remember. And then...
And 2011 is also when you would wake up in the morning and all these families would just be gone.
Yeah, 2011...
He would send families away at a time, and it just kept happening. We would wake up and I would open the new house. I was living in the new house, and I'd open the deck door and just look across the land, and it would be desolate, silent.
Well, it seems to me like that was the end of 2011.
It was the end. It was closer to the end of 2011.
Yeah, because the beginning of 2011 was very vibrant.
Yeah, people were coming. People who had never been there were coming, and more houses were getting built. Triplexes got built.
We were starting that big amphitheater out there.
Yeah.
But got pretty far on that all through 2011. Just all kinds of things going on.
By the end, it was just like a switch flipped, and people just went away, like got sent away in droves. Like family after family, complete family.
This family is supposed to move to Short Creek. Gone, gone, gone.
Yeah. It was crazy.
And then 2012 was the year of forever no members.
No.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was at 23 when the first message came, and it was Nullsteed was a forever non-member.
Mm-hmm. Nullsteed and a bunch of other people that were dead or whatever.
Yeah. And a list of people who weren't. That was the first one. I was so terrified. Okay, it was always
Was
the
that-
murder of unborn children.
Yeah, that's always what he used. The murder of unborn
Murder
children.
of unborn children. And I had no idea how it worked. I didn't know anything about having children because Dad went to prison and we weren't around people that had children.
No fooling.
Well, that, but also just people having babies. I mean,
Did
we
you
weren't used
wonder
to it.
why the mothers just stopped having babies?
All I knew was, okay, one of the children were like, Mom went and saw Father at a visit, like a window visit. Now she can have a baby. And all the adults in the room were like, ha, ha, ha. And that was like, oh, it's something more in my brain about. I was always an observer, so I knew to not say something stupid like that. And would just catch on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I wondered, but I also would just put it out of my mind and just be like, but when he started saying this murder of unborn children stuff, I was terrified. And this first list comes out, and he names all these people who are forever no member because they have committed the murder of unborn children. What am I supposed to think? They just murdered a kid in their belly. Like... Anyway, I was in my room with a bunch of my older sisters and the ones that had been married before. I mean, they had kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm listening to the story of them. They're like, I heard a story about a woman who didn't want to have her baby, so she jumped on a trampoline until she miscarried.
Mm-hmm.
And she killed her baby. And I didn't dare jump on a trampoline after that. I know it's bizarre to think, but like, I became so paranoid that I would somehow have a baby in my belly and kill it without even knowing, and then I would be guilty of the murder of unborn children.
Well, yeah, because you're already getting roasted for things that you know you didn't do.
Yeah.
And you're basically lying to yourself, like, I must have done these things somehow.
Yeah, even the going to the Triplexes the first time, he didn't exactly name the bad thing I did. He just said, you were like-minded, and you kind of put the responsibility on me for what all the girls did.
Mm-hmm.
And I, so it started with little things like that. And then it, gets bigger and bigger into where you just don't even know what you did. But yeah, after he started saying that, I would run, and then I would stop and I'd be like, I better not run.
Yeah. It's crazy because that first big list of names, I think it was read to the crick and everybody.
Yeah, it was.
But a lot of those guys on it, I had been with them weeks before.
I know. It was like, you would almost look around you in our family and be like, are they next?
Yeah. And I would look at the man, and we would mock the man that were, to no end. Because, somebody crossed us, and then 2 weeks later, they're on the list, and we just mock them to no end. But
that's sad.
I know, it's bad.
Yeah, and I remember thinking, my only saving grace is that I know I've never had a kid. So.
Yeah.
And then I would think of the mothers, and I'd be like, well, they have. So.
Yeah.
I don't know.
When those men would get sent away forever, I would be like, surely they're not that bad. Because I was with them a few weeks earlier. And
yeah, it became very confusing.
Oh yeah.
Because a lot of the people, and they started saying women's names, and I knew some of those people, and I'd be like, they were never that bad to me, but
I know,
they did this wicked thing. So.
Yeah. It's like, wow, I can't believe they would do that. That's unreal.
Crazy. Yeah.
And then 2013 rolls around. You're at 23 for the first little while.
I'm at 23 till about March.
With Mother.
Okay. I moved with Mother to a different house in March, and then
to a different house.
On 23 land.
Which one?
The duplex.
Oh, you just moved from the A house to the duplex.
Right.
Okay.
So I moved from the A house to the duplex, and I can't talk to anyone else, only Mother. And then we moved to hiding. We get sent to hiding in May. And from May 2013 to 2016, 2015, 16. We were by ourselves.
You and mother?
Well, for that year, we were alone, just me and her, but we would move. We'd move from like this house in hiding to that house in hiding. And sometimes we lived in like the basement of where someone else lived, but we weren't supposed to be with them, so we would say hi and we would do things with them, and then we'd have to move.
Uh-huh.
Anyway.
Yeah, it was a very bizarre time, and I can't possibly ever explain the vibe.
I can't either, because for me, I was just 16 years old. The whole time I was 15, you wanted to be trusted. And so the whole time I was 15, I didn't really have a mother who was my caretaker. It was just me. I went here, I went there, I went there, I went there. And then I turned 16, and Dad sends this message: if you're one of my children and you don't have a caretaker, write to me and tell me, because you need to have a caretaker unless you're married.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you need to have a married person over you until you're married. Anyway, so going back and living with Mom, Dad's ultimate trust in me, to me, was that I didn't have to be with Mom. So now I'm sent away with Mom, and I feel like it's the worst of the worst, because now I have to be with Mom.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't trust me to just be me. Anyway, but we did the best we could with where we were and everything we did. We would wait every weekend for a message.
Okay,
wait for the phone to
that's
ring.
a way to explain part of the vibe through these weeks. Is you lived from 2012 to 2016. You lived from week to week.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Monday, you knew the next 5 days were going to be normal. Friday, you were praying.
Praying so hard, and they were going to have a visit, and you just might get a message this time.
Yes, and you might go home. I don't know.
And that was how it was from week to week. And you're like in limbo. And then it comes the weekend, and it's like waiting. And then it's like
might change.
Waiting some more and waiting some more. And we were just like that for months on end with nothing. And every once in a while, they would call and give us a message.
Yeah, and it got to where every week, especially in 2015, 2016, every week the scribes were calling, and, you know, they were doing this conference call to all the houses, because by this point, Dad had his family in so many houses. You know, they were in the A house at 23, they were in the duplex, they were in the South house.
Oh, and there was countless numbers of houses in hiding.
Right.
And hiding now has changed from a caretaker, like a man and his family, you know, taking care of us in the house, to just a house with, like, me and Mom. We're in this house, and every week food gets dropped off and sewing gets dropped off. So sewing is our work, and then food for us to live.
Yes.
And so through the week, that's one time we see anyone. Is they drop it off, and they don't even talk to us. They just drop it off.
They don't
pick
say
up whatever
a word.
we have. Yeah. Unless they need to, unless it's like, hey, do you have this? Or, you know, like our letters. They would take our letters that we wrote to Dad.
The idea that they were going to say one unnecessary thing is laughable, you know. It was isolation. It
was the worst isolation at that time.
Yeah, I don't think people realize the degree that Mother and you felt isolated.
Yeah.
And some of the other family in a lot of the same...
there was a lot of people. But there was houses where it was more people.
Oh, yeah.
So, like me and Mom, 5 months went by, just us, nothing. We did move a couple times, but it was like one time we moved and we had all the land in the world. And then we moved to a house in a neighborhood where we couldn't even open the blinds. And yeah, the isolation is terrible. You can't talk to anyone. Even the people who come and bring you your food, you can't talk to them. There's just no one. Absolutely no one.
Yeah, and you can call Uncle Isaac if he'll answer.
And then you just get to where you're a burden to him.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it if you're the one person that everyone can call.
Yeah.
But it just becomes, and there was times Mom would call and be like, can you just try and ask him about us?
Yeah.
Anyway, throughout, so one of my sisters came to live with us, but it was 2 years that it was me and Mom, and then maybe one other person for a minute, maybe 2 other people for a minute.
Yeah, I just want the FLDS people that are listening to this, or, I just want to explain a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
Okay, you have Warren Jeff's wife and daughter in this house, right? Uncle Isaac is kind of probably scared to ask. He probably wants to. He feels for you. He's kind of scared to ask. You can write a letter every week. You hear nothing for months, and the one person that can change your situation is in prison, and he has God's will for you. And I'm just trying to tell, like, FLDS people that are listening to this, like, tell me that makes a lot of sense.
Tell me it makes any sense.
Yeah.
Is there any sense in
Like,
that?
why couldn't the people that are out, say Uncle Isaac, why couldn't he have discretion to say, okay, they're doing pretty good, let's bring them over with some of the other families so they're not just by themselves. What about this person? Like, all Warren Jeff's family is feeling this way, and the one person that can change it sits in the visit and just won't say anything about any of them, and he gives these weird revelations, and I'm just telling the people, like, this stuff is lunatic stuff. Like, it only cult shit happens like this.
It is isolation and torture. It's bad. There was no sense in it.
And I would say, like, Mother and Mom, all through this time, I don't know, like, it's one of the most heartbreaking kind of.
Yeah, so there would come off and on times through those 2 years that Dad would say, okay, you can talk to your other children. And then it would be like 3 weeks, and he would say, oh, you can't talk to your other children anymore. So, and then one time, Mom, a family message came. Uncle Isaac called and read this family message. And it was, all the mothers can call and talk to their children that they're not with unless he specifically says no. And so Mom, immediately she's calling the scribe, she's calling Uncle Isaac, she's calling everyone she can to get their number so she can talk to her other children, because it's just me and her. And they took like a week to give her anything. And she finally gets through, and she starts talking to him. And I think that lasted for 3 months. And then we got a message that was, you can no longer talk to your children.
Yeah.
She tried.
I know. I know. I'm just saying, she's definitely one to bug everybody.
I know, and I would be sitting there like dying of embarrassment. You're just bugging everybody. Like, they'll call.
I know. We were the type, at least, that would sit in isolation and just suffer, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And, Mother, we felt embarrassed for somebody bugging, but in hindsight.
Glad she did.
Okay, so you moved several times, and then you move in with some other people, right?
Well, yeah, so I like 3 other mothers move in with us toward the end of those 2 years, and then you moved with us right after that.
Oh yeah, I moved in. I was at Norway.
So I was living with Mom and one of my sisters when I turned 18.
So 3 years have gone by.
So now I'm 18, and all this time it's just been alone, just very lonely, limbo. I'm trying to be good enough, and
every weekend.
My fear was I'm getting older. I've got to be able to go home. I can't just sit here, and that was terrifying to me.
Yeah, and then I moved with you guys, and we're at the 24 house.
Yeah,
which is a house. Just for the audience, is a house up Highway 24 past Woodland, Colorado, probably an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a really pretty place.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
House was really
When
really
I got
nice.
there, I was like, I'm just grateful I'm not at Norway anymore.
Oh, and can you believe it was me and Mom who lived there first? It was a I don't know how many square foot house it was, but it was
probably 2,000-ish.
Or
maybe bigger.
Or maybe bigger. It was pretty spacious. It had a big, nice fireplace, huge deck, probably 6 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. Huge house, and it was just me and Mom.
Really nice wood floors.
Nice kitchen, nice formal dining room.
Beautiful view of the backside of Pikes Peak.
Yeah, it was gorgeous. But it was me and Mom, and then it was me and Mom and my sister, and then it was me and Mom and one other mother. 4 of us living in that big of a house for over a year. Crazy.
Yeah. And then I came.
Yeah. Then you came. It's like...
So I moved with you to the 24 house, and then we moved away from the 24 house to the Quakey house. And that's when Sham is with us there. But a bunch of the mothers.
Sham
How many
and
people?
His mom. I would say it was probably like 5 moms and then all their kids. Not all their kids, but us kids who were there. So I would say it's probably about 15. Or was it not that many?
Oh,
it was probably about 15.
Yeah. And it was kind of the Quakey house through those 4 years up to that point had kind of been the house where, they had the baptismal font trailer there.
It was like a hub for everything that went on in hiding.
Especially for the people.
Yeah.
People would come there, and then from there they would kind of separate to the different houses and not talk to each other. I mean, the caretakers would bring people there to get baptized, and then they would go wherever.
Yeah. But somehow everyone is gone from there, and we moved from the 24 house to the Quakey house. We're there for 3 weeks. Was it 3 weeks?
Yes.
Yeah. We're there for 3 weeks, and then we
It might have been longer, a month.
It wasn't.
Okay.
It wasn't. What happened? We get this or I think the mothers got a message.
No, we got
Uncle Nephi. Uncle Nephi was the one that was the guiding elder.
Yes.
And guiding elder
Uncle
was what
Isaac
they called.
got sent away.
Got sent away. So Uncle Nephi's the guiding elder. He calls and he says, "This certain people at this house are, moving. Be ready by this time. Pack everything. He told us what to pack because I don't know, we would or wouldn't need things or something. And it was really ominous. Like he didn't tell us where we were going.
We had no clue where we were going.
But we could tell it was different than just moving to a different house in Colorado.
Yeah, because all these times that you guys had moved or I had moved, Uncle Isaac or the guiding elder, whoever, call and say, your father wants you to go here.
Or just, we need this house for a different thing. We need you guys to move. So pack up your stuff. We're coming to get you by this time. And then we'd move. But this time it was like, only bring this certain stuff and be ready by this time. And we could tell it was something different.
And you don't know where you're going, right?
And we try and ask, but he just won't tell.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, something suspicious.
Yeah. It's like, we're not stupid. Okay. You won't catch us being stupid anymore.
Yeah, so we pack up.
And it's quite a few of us. We pack up and we get on our way and we meet another car, right? We meet more people.
I cannot hardly remember.
Yep.
I just
we
remember
meet people from somewhere else. So there's like 2 other cars.
Truck? Were you in this different vehicle than me? I was in the truck with the trailer.
Yeah,
I think you guys were in another car. But yeah, this was a trip that I remember being like, where the hell are we going?
Oh yeah.
This does not look good.
Well, especially because we had you came to live with us, and then we moved to the Quakey house where it was more people than what we had been living with, and so it was like finally.
Yes, after 3 years of being so isolated, and for you guys and for me, I was with the boys and just was not making any progress for so long, and we were finally coming together. It's like
like we are finally getting somewhere.
We passed the test to this point.
Oh, but wait, when we were at the Quakey house is the first time the first group of our family got sent away forever. Remember that?
Was it?
The group of mothers, Mother Michelle and all those guys?
Yes.
We got a family message and it said that they were sent away forever.
I was terrified.
That they had committed, like, horrible wrongs and were sent away forever. Oh my gosh, that was so terrifying because I was like, I cannot be next. Like, I cannot be next.
Yes. And the situation we were in was looking more positive.
Yeah, we thought so.
We thought so. And the mothers that were weird and that we thought were weird and bad, and had been over in that house dealing with demons and whatever those stories were,
Stories we got from other houses in hiding, yeah. Those were the mothers that were on this list.
Yeah.
That were sent away forever. And it was like relief that we weren't part of that list, and also such fear, and just trying to not be fearful because that would make us be the next ones, but also full of fear. And so that happened before we are on our way to this other place.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going, and for me, this journey is like, this drive is like, where the hell are we headed?
And the thing is in our heads, we're like, please let it be 23, please let it be 23. And the drivers who are driving won't say a word.
They won't say a word. And
we get on our way, and we're driving for like 4 hours, and we're all like...
We get to Grand Junction.
It's definitely Short Creek.
Yeah. We get to Grand Junction.
And the mood was immediately just completely shit.
I said to the driver, are we going to Short Creek? And they just nodded their head. And I was just like,
it was like, how did we?
Oh.
But there was a lot of people with us. It was a good amount of people.
It was.
And people we hadn't seen for a long time. My sister that's my same age was there, and I hadn't seen her in years. So on one hand, we're happy to see each other. On the other hand, everyone is just it's so down. Like, oh dear, we're going to Short Creek.
What the hell?
We can tell there's no other way we could go, place that we would be going.
And we go right back to our...
We drive, and we get there in the dark. We drive straight to the South House.
And I am like... Ew.
Yeah, so we get there, and we go in, and there's already some of our family there, living there.
Think about this. This is when we started our talk. This is where we left,
Yeah. Yeah, when we're little and all that. It's crazy. So we get there, and we have received no message. Nothing. And they're like, okay, Uncle Nephi will be calling you, sometime today, as soon as everyone's here. And there was a lot of people. It was, how many people do you think it was?
25, I think.
25, at least. This is the most people I have seen in years.
Yeah, me too. Like, having that big of a group of our family together, it was like,
it was like a miracle. It was like, wow. But then we're in Short Creek, so it's like, is this good or is this bad?
Mm-hmm.
And then Uncle Nephi calls and gives us all a message, and it's like an upbeat message. It's like,
oh yeah,
you're there to be an example to the people in Short Creek, and you're, did he say that?
Yeah, and like you're preparing for, whatever your father's...
And it's a privilege to have this many people together, and
grow a garden and plant this stuff and this stuff.
He sent us so many messages while we were there.
He did. Like every week we were getting a ton of messages.
And it was so encouraging. It was like, we are finally like, okay, we're in Short Creek, but this is a good place now. Like, yeah, we're encouraged. We're
and like we are the top priority in Short Creek.
Yeah.
I hate to say that. It kind of is, because anybody that gets close to that place, somebody is on them. You know?
Yeah. Like the people, the Keats lived across the way, and they came. Remember how some of them came over, and it was like...
Yeah, and if we needed something over there,
it was like...
They brought it fast. I was like, this is weird.
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing to be in that, hell up here where it's like, we're not that important.
Yeah, because like our message said, go plant this garden.
It said, spend time on the grass because the Lord likes you to, relax and have time on the grass. Also build a garden and do it this certain way.
And I was like, yeah, this sounds a lot more like Zion to me. Like, we can finally relax on the grass.
And before this, he had, taken all these things out of our diet, squash and onions and all these things that we couldn't eat. And now we're in Short Creek and he says, plant squash, plant onions. And we're like, oh, we can have this stuff.
Yeah, we're like, yes.
Like, we're the only ones that know, though. So
Yeah, so and it was such a priority to get us the garden stuff we needed, and like anything I asked for, because I had been in hiding where I could call the caretaker or like Uncle Isaac and say, can I get this like for my woodworking or whatever? And, he would call somebody and say, hey, you should send that. But here
it was like
within an hour.
And you know what? At this time, Uncle Isle had been put in jail. So
That's right.
So Uncle Isle's in jail, and we're all of a sudden coming to Short Creek, and we finally see some brightness in our future. It's like, finally, we're doing something right.
Benny Johnson would come over there once in a while.
Really?
And yeah, just to like bring stuff.
I didn't know that.
He's like the bishop's helper.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you were like the man of the house.
Yeah,
you read good words.
I felt like Warren Jess, Father actually trusted me now, after all that time, just kind of not doing anything. And Uncle Nephi would say things to me like, your father really trusts you to be here.
But at the same time, we're getting the same family messages of more family that are just sent away forever.
Yes.
So there's still this, whatever foreboding thing, but we're here and we're part of the people that get to finally be whatever this place is.
Yeah. It was strange. I gotta say that. Oh, and Helaman and Ammon
lived in a separate, off the property, but they didn't get to be part of that, us.
Yeah, they didn't get to be part of the group, but they were supposed to come over for meals. And initially when I came, Warren Jess said, you should work with them in their wood shop. But then, 10 seconds after I got done listening to that message, they read me another one that said, don't work anywhere off. You do not leave that property. If you need anything, ask for it. Do not go with your brother. I was like, okay, so I was supposed to, and now I'm not. And they said, exactly.
That's how that message with Roy was.
Yeah, and there started to be a lot of these situations where you would get a message to do something, and then within the other messages, essentially,
don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. And so they would read you the message, but then they would also say, don't do that.
It makes it hard to obey, almost.
Yeah, but essentially I didn't, so I couldn't go.
Yeah, and then Uncle Lyle gets put on, house arrest or whatever?
House arrest.
And...
Well, so we're here for 3 months, and Uncle Nephi is coming essentially every weekend.
Yeah, and reading us stuff, and it was like we were getting somewhere.
We were doing the best.
We were important. We were a big group of people.
Mother Sheena had cancer here too.
Oh yeah, Mother Sheena was there,
and she was almost
cancer.
To die.
Yep.
Oh, and I remember the message that says, "Sheena dieth of cancer."
Mm-hmm.
And then it goes on to warn everybody, like, if you're not a member by the time you die. Then you'll. But I remember that so good. Like, the message starts, "Sheena dieth of cancer." I'm like, what?
It's like. Oh yeah, we know that. We hear it every day.
Yeah.
Because she would, they would have to change her bandages because she had breast cancer. And I never saw it, but we would stand out her door and play violins and sing and do anything we could to distract her from the pain.
It was bad. I think she had 3 places in her back that the cancer had eaten through her vertebrae, so she literally didn't have a back.
Yeah, and the front of her was just all eaten and
open
wounds, I think. I don't know. I never saw it. I just know that we would hear, they even used lidocaine on her, and she still had the worst of pain. But yeah, we all took care of her. It was one of the things about being there, but she was always so, I could have never been as happy and upbeat as she was.
I know. She was a positive person.
Yeah.
I mean, for what she was dealing with.
Yeah. Well, and then we're at Shark Creek and Uncle Lyle's on house arrest, and then 3 of the mothers, they leave one day.
Yes.
And we're all like, they're gonna go home. They're getting restored.
Oh, no kidding. I think they went and met
Uncle Lyle.
Uncle Lyle.
I don't know. We should ask him what happened, but I think they went and met him. But we're here and we're like, they're getting restored. They're gonna get rebaptized, and they're gonna, that is so awesome. We're headed this way. We're just in the right direction.
I was like, I'm probably next, based on how I've been doing. Like I was being 100% faithful, perfect prayer in my mind all the time.
And then they come back, and they're just solemn, and just like won't hardly talk or nothing. And they go get packed up, and one by one they leave. And
they leave in a weird way.
They leave, and we can tell they're sent away forever.
Yes,
they're like the next ones, pretty much.
It's like their brothers coming to pick them up.
Yeah.
It's not one of Warren Jeff's helpers. It's their brothers. It's whoever they could call.
Yeah. And that was just a knock in the face. It was like, okay, we can't be next. Whatever happens, we can't be next.
Yeah.
But that was bad. Just watching them leave. We all went outside and we said bye to them, and yeah. And then oh no. Okay, how long was it? Like a week?
A week?
Probably a week later. I'm standing in the kitchen, and the outside door opens, and Uncle Lyle walks in.
We're like, thought you were in jail.
Like, what?
It's like, this smells better than prison food.
We're in the middle of dinner.
I remember that so good.
And everyone is like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But Uncle Nephi had stopped talking to us, remember, before that?
The Friday before, I had talked to Uncle Nephi on the phone, and he's, it was the same thing. Like, your father really trusts you. Make sure you're staying clean and pure, I think
and
you're doing
after the
good.
visit, he wouldn't answer.
He would not answer.
Nothing. And so it was weird, and we're like, okay, we're trying to stay positive. What's going on? Uncle Lyle walks through the door. And we didn't know what to think of that. I was like, okay, well, he doesn't read anyone a message. He says, I need to talk to this person and this person. Who left at the same time as we did?
Mother and Mother Jennifer.
No, Irene?
I don't remember.
I don't remember. But he says he needs to talk to these certain people. One of them was Mom. And so, they go to the other end of the house, and Mom comes back.
Tears.
Crying and like, I need to talk to you guys. It was you, me, Sienna that were there. So we go up to, or where did we go? To some other room.
We were just right there by the dining room.
Okay.
Yeah.
And she tells us that we're getting sent away.
And I am like, shit. There's no way this is right. I went and called Uncle Nephi like 10 times.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, there is no way.
I was so shocked, but I immediately just resigned myself to like, this is happening, and I'm going to have to bear everyone watching it happen. A bunch of my sisters were there, older sisters that I hadn't really had to do with for a while. And it was torture.
It was torture, especially after we started having to figure out how to leave.